The air in Cana was thick with the scent of roasted meats, fresh bread, and the sweet perfume of blossoming vines. Laughter spilled from every doorway, mingling with the lively strum of lyres and the joyful rhythm of tambourines. It was a wedding, a vibrant celebration, a tapestry woven with the vibrant threads of community, family, and new beginnings. In a small Galilean village, a wedding was not just an event, it was a festival, often lasting days, a profound expression of hospitality and shared joy. Among the guests, perhaps quietly observing the bustling festivities, was Jesus, his mother Mary, and his newly gathered disciples. They were there not as VIPs, but as part of the community, sharing in the simple, profound happiness of two lives uniting. Everything was perfect, a symphony of celebration, until it wasn't. Amidst the crescendo of joy, a hushed murmur began to ripple through the household, a silent, growing panic. The wine, the very lifeblood of the celebration, had run out. Imagine the scene, the master of the feast, his brow furrowed, whispering urgently to the frantic servants. In that culture, running out of wine at a wedding was more than just an inconvenience. It was a profound social embarrassment, a blot on the host's honor that could linger for years. The joyous occasion risked turning into a source of shame. Mary, ever observant, ever compassionate, noticed. Perhaps she saw the subtle shift in the servants' faces, the hurried whispers, the sudden lack of overflowing cups. Her heart, so attuned to the needs of others, felt the silent anxiety. Without a moment's hesitation, she turned to her son, Jesus. Her words were simple, yet profound in their implication. They have no wine. Now, Jesus' response might seem a little abrupt to our modern ears. Woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. It wasn't a harsh rebuke, but rather a gentle recognition of the divine timing of his mission. He was acknowledging that his public ministry, his display of miraculous power, had not yet officially begun. This was a private family matter, not a grand stage for a public pronouncement. Yet Mary's faith was unwavering. She knew her son, she knew his heart, and she knew his power. Turning to the servants, her instruction was clear, simple, and utterly trusting. Do whatever he tells you. This instruction, do whatever he tells you, is a pivot point in the story, echoing through the centuries as a timeless call to faith. The servants, likely confused but respecting Mary, waited. Jesus then looked at the 6 large stone jars standing nearby. These weren't decorative urns, they were massive vessels, each capable of holding 20 to 30 gallons, used for the ceremonial washing rituals common in Jewish households. They were ordinary, practical, unremarkable containers. He gave the servants a simple command: fill the jars with water. What must have gone through their minds? Water for a wine crisis? It made no logical sense. Yet they obeyed. They fetched bucket after bucket, tirelessly pouring until the jars were filled to the brim. They didn't question, they didn't hesitate, they just did as they were told. Their obedience, in the face of what seemed absurd, was crucial. Then came the next instruction. Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast. Imagine the servant dipping his ladle into one of those colossal jars, expecting to draw out plain, cool water. But as he poured it into the cup, a different color emerged, a richer aroma rose. He carried it to the master of the feast, who, unaware of the crisis or the extraordinary intervention, tasted it. His eyes widened in surprise, then delight. He called the bridegroom over, his voice full of jovial astonishment. Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the cheaper wine when the guests have had too much to drink, but you have saved the best until now. The best, not just wine, but the finest wine, far superior to anything served earlier. The groom was baffled. The master of the feast was oblivious to the miracle, thinking the groom had pulled off an unprecedented trick. Only the servants, who had filled the jars with water, knew the incredible truth. This miracle, performed in the quiet setting of a wedding, was Jesus' first sign, his first public display of divine power. And it was not for healing the sick or raising the dead, but for saving a celebration from embarrassment, for transforming water into an abundance of the finest wine. What does this story, so rich in detail and subtle power, tell us about Jesus and about our own lives? Firstly, it reveals Christ's profound compassion for our everyday joys and challenges. He wasn't aloof from human celebrations, he participated in them. He cared about the potential embarrassment of a young couple, about the simple pleasure of good wine shared among friends. This miracle wasn't about saving a life, but about preserving joy, dignity, and abundance in the mundane. It tells us that no part of our life, no matter how ordinary or trivial it may seem, is too small for Jesus' attention or his care. He delights in our joy and offers solace in our quiet anxiety. Secondly, it showcases his divine power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Water, a common element, became exquisite wine. This is a profound metaphor for what Jesus does in our lives. He takes our ordinary, sometimes insufficient, sometimes mundane existence, and with his touch, transforms it into something abundant, vibrant, and filled with divine quality. He can take our struggles and turn them into strength, our weaknesses into opportunities for his grace, our emptiness into overflowing blessings. Finally, and perhaps most importantly for us today, the wedding at Cana encourages us to invite Jesus into every area of our lives. Just as Mary invited him into that social crisis, we are called to invite him into our homes, our relationships, our work, our finances, our joys, and our disappointments. And like the servants, we are encouraged to simply obey his instructions, even when they seem counterintuitive or challenging. Do whatever he tells you. It is in that simple act of trust and obedience that we witness his transforming power. The wedding at Cana wasn't just about a change of chemistry, it was about a change of heart, a revelation of a king who cares about the details of our lives. It was where ordinary water met divine power and became extraordinary wine, a foretaste of the abundant life he offers to all who trust him. So, as you go about your day, consider where in your life you might be experiencing a wine shortage. Is it in your relationships, your peace, your purpose? Are there ordinary, mundane things you wish could be transformed? Take a moment to pause. Invite Jesus into that space, just as Mary did. Trust his power and be willing to do whatever he tells you. You might just find that he saves the best until now. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story. How does the miracle at Cana resonate with you? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you for joining us on this journey through faith and story.